Hey guys, it's Ian and James.
Hey guys.
At SS8000 Cars, and today we're reviewing the Porsche 718 Boxster. Now the interesting thing about this particular car, this is the base model, and until the GTS came out, this was the one that both Autocar and Top Gear recommended.
What, more than the S and the GTS?
Well, the GTS they really quite positive about as well, but what I would say is they think this is the purest driving experience available.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
The thing about this compared to the previous model, of course, is this is a 4-cylinder engine. And I can say right up front, it doesn't sound quite as nice as the 6-cylinder. As you know, we had the GT4, and the GT4, the sound emanating from those exhausts.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, they're completely different price brackets.
Of course, you'll find that this one is...
Well, this one's 0 to 60 is 5.1 for the manual,
Right.
4.9 for the PDK, and 4.7 for the
Sport Chrono
yeah,
package,
that's
probably.
it.
This one doesn't have the Sport Chrono package, so there's no going to 60 in 4.7
No,
for us.
but I've got to say, considering it has the same engine as the Mark 7 Golf, the exhaust system makes it sound a lot better. A lot better.
This is quite a lot more pricey than the Mark 7 Golf.
Yeah, so you would expect that.
And it is actually an interesting comparison, which we'll probably touch on today, in terms of, at £45,000, is this good value? I think it is, ultimately, because the handling is sublime.
And it's a Porsche. All right,
And it's a Porsche.
shall we have a look around the car?
Yeah, I want to start with the aerodynamics and the looks. Now, one of the things I like about the Porsche Boxster is Porsche run on a strategy of evolution, not revolution. So this is instantly recognizable from the previous model. I'm sorry, instantly recognizable because the previous model looked very similar. We've had a slight tidying up of the front grills and the air intakes, slightly slimmer indicators and side lights, and then we have the full dynamic light system with PDLS for the Boxster. The nice thing is that all these 4 lights shine up as daylights, and it's really quite smart. But otherwise, it's very similar.
Haven't they changed the backlights as well?
They have changed the backlights, and we'll certainly come to those in a second. In fact, actually, the back is instantly recognizable as the 718. This one has the full 20-inch alloys, so it sits nicely with the car. Very short and compact, the Boxster. Now, we've not reviewed the Boxster before, so this is quite exciting for me. Air intakes at the side, similar to the GT4, except the GT4 had a cover coming round to force the air into the engine. This is a mid-engine car, as I'm sure you guys know, so the engine is really right under here. So getting air to it's quite important.
Oh, does it have 2 boots?
Coming round to, yes, exactly the same as the GT4 though.
Oh.
There's a boot at the front and there's a boot at the rear. Come round to the rear and you instantly recognise this as the 718. Now this is the base model, as I said, so it's not the S, it's 718, decals there, Porsche above that, but they've elevated the spoiler slightly in standard mode, and then of course the spoiler will raise another 4 inches. This is a 4-cylinder engine. But then I've always liked the noise that the Golf R makes, and I think this makes an even better noise, actually, in truth.
The Golf R's noise is not great. This sounds good though. I really like the sound of this.
The lights are completely different.
Yeah. You know, I never used to like Boxsters. I think this is the first one, looks-wise, I actually like.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I really, really like it, actually.
I don't think it's drastically different to the...
It's the lights. It's honestly the lights. It's the lights make it... For me,
It's
I've
true.
always thought they make a
It's
huge
true.
difference.
I think so. We've got the roof in place at the moment. We'll show you that retracting and going back up a bit later. Nice heated glass rear screen.
Oh, is that in the foot? Oh, that's very clever.
And then the brake light, of course, is integrated into the boot lid. So I think overall quite cohesive, isn't it? You seem to have slightly extended side skirts there, which I don't think were on the previous Boxster. I think it was rounded underneath, and I think that does help, you know, channel the air down the side of the car. Hi guys, well I'm sitting in the 718, and it is pretty standard Boxster fare in here. Again, the interior has been updated with a new MMI interface. but primarily it's the same one I've got in the GT3, and there aren't many additional functions to it, but it's just a little bit nicer to look at. Otherwise, very similar to the interior of our Cayman GT4. So I have the center console here. As you can see, this one's a PDK. The dash is 3 basic controls. That changes and differs slightly from the 911 where you've got 5 controls, but here all the information that you have on the side, in the 2 side dials on the 911, are on this third screen here, which is the things like the engine temperature, the remaining fuel, and the like.
I like the steering wheel.
Steering wheel's lovely, isn't it? I mean, this is they made
this very driver focused rather than passenger focused, because the driver looks like he's in a very nice comforting area with lots of little buttons.
Yes, lots of
and
things.
And then the passenger's in a very, like, I mean, it's okay.
You can
material, but it's not very
specify leather on these. Okay. This clearly hasn't got the leather option. It's just got the standard plastic.
The seat's quite nice.
Seat's nice. I think they're the.
Does
the
it?
sports.
I can't find a back support though for a lumbar support.
I don't think there is one, James. These are not the electric seats. These are the.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. Sorry. These are the standard seats. As with the GT4, you have electric backrest, but nothing else. Everything else is manual. Now, in essence, the only difference inside that I can see between the GT4 and this car is the fact that at any stage I can lower the roof.
Well, I quite like the roof material actually. It's nice and spongy.
Nice, yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's really
nice.
nice.
Do you want me to lower the roof?
Yeah, go for it. No, it's super nice.
Hi guys, we're in the Boxster now, and we've really taken it out to experience the quality of the ride and the handling capabilities of the car. But I think, as you can see right now, or may not be able to see right now, we have the roof down. So I'm going to put it up, and this can be done whilst you're on the go.
Up to 30 miles an hour.
Oh, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That's not bad.
I do quite like not having to do anything. I think that's rather nice.
Yeah.
So hopefully now
it's oh wow, it's a lot quieter.
A lot quieter. So you should be able to hear us much better. Now, I've done quite a bit of driving in it now, and it handles well. I mean, I don't know of another car, except perhaps the Cayman, its brother, at this sort of price level, that handles with the same capabilities as this. It's just very flat, and on top of being very flat, it just goes exactly where you put it. When you press sport, firms up the steering, firms up the suspension. I don't think there's a halfway house. I don't think you've got sport and sport plus. It's just sport. So it's got a nice feel to it, and it drives well. I'm sure all of you that have followed the various reports on the various Boxsters that have been introduced over the years all had the same handling characteristics, and I like it to drive.
I feel like this is more of a car for throwing around corners than it is for speed.
Yes, out and out speed, you mean?
Yeah, this model anyway, because
I think it's more on the continent that you get the chance to find out the outright speed of this, but I think you're right. I don't think it's about that. It's about the way that it handles, the way that it stays fairly
you know what this kind of reminds me of actually in terms of like kind of characteristics, the Mazda MX-5, but like, you know how it has its own character. It's a small car.
Yep.
It's meant for 2 people. It's meant to make you feel like you're going quick. This is what this car kind of feels like, but a much more powerful and faster version.
Yes.
So it's just a much better MX-5.
Yeah, well, I know exactly what you mean.
With a better interior as well.
Maybe the biggest problem with the MX-5 was always the fact that it was a little underpowered.
Yeah.
But in some ways,
it had its own niche.
Add it to the charm, though.
Yeah.
You know, you could really throw the MX-5 round. It would handle nicely. So there's a bit of power there. I would say I feel the Golf R is faster. Now, yeah, seriously.
How much does this car weigh?
It must weigh less than the, probably about 1500 kgs, because of course you've got the strengthening and for the fact that it's a convertible.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Although the roof, I imagine it's a canvas roof, doesn't weigh very much. I just feel it doesn't feel particularly fast. But again,
It sounds much nicer than the Golf.
do you think it does?
Oh, so much more. Different league, completely different league. Just by the sound, do you think this car is about 5 times faster?
If you like the sound of a sort of a throaty 4-cylinder engine,
This sounds like a sports car. The Golf does not sound like a sports car.
Oh, I think
The Golf handles like a sports car, but
Oh,
it
you
does
see,
not sound like a sports car.
I'm still very pro the Golf R. I think the Golf R is an extraordinary piece of kit.
I mean, realistically, apart from the engine, you can't even compare this to a Golf R.
Well, you mean the Golf R's got much more room, it's much more practical, you can put a roof rack on it.
That's my point.
You can take your... So, I think
They're different cars, you can't compare them apart from the engine. And the suspension, maybe, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, I like them both, but I think the problem for me is if I was spending 45,000, I don't think I'd buy this. I think I'd buy a Golf and maybe a fun car like a Lotus 7.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced that, but they do say that from a handling perspective this is as good as it gets. So, you know, if you were wanting to have a convertible plus the ability to really race this round the track, then this is possibly the car for you.
I'd rather race this round of the track than the Golf. It doesn't feel like it's lacking power. Really nice noise. Not the best noise, but it's a really nice noise.
Yes, I'd agree with that. You're not really hearing the engine there. What you're hearing is what they want you to hear through the exhausts.
Like, would you really need the S model of this?
Well, as I said to you earlier in the video, I think most people concluded
It's an
this
extra
is a slightly
10 grand more.
Is it 55? Is it
10 grand? No, well, it's 54.
right?
10 grand more. Well, okay, 9 grand more for how much more horsepower? For 50 more horsepower.
Yeah, it is. In isolation, it sounds like quite a lot, doesn't it? No question.
Yeah. And the GTS is 8 grand on top of that, and it's only got an extra 15 horsepower.
Yes, although there are quite a few optional extras that come with the GTS that you don't have on both this and the S. They say that the GTS is actually quite good value for money.
Is the Cayman and the Boxster the exact same apart from the roof?
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't actually.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got a lot more room behind you because you can put stuff above the engine.
Yeah.
If you remember back to the GT4, but it's basically the same suspension setup as the...
I completely see why you get this car though, because just a Porsche is a bit of fun without spending too much money.
Yeah. And then of course if you've got long journeys to do, you can lug up the M1 and the M40 and this, no problem at all.
So in terms of competitors, Audi TTS?
Well, the Audi TT is a much improved car. So when it first came out, I always thought, oh, it's a bit soft and it's a bit
so the
too timid.
The S has the same version as this, engine as this.
Right.
But it's 1 grand less.
Oh,
the car's 1 grand less than that.
Okay, I think I still choose this. For me, it's all about driving dynamics. I think the other thing is that this has gone turbo, but it's not really, in fairness to Porsche, it's not really that noticeable, and it's eminently drivable. You're not really aware of any turbo lag. I think that BMW before the M2 and the the M3 is always handled well, but before the M2, which is more in this price bracket, because you remember an M2 is below 50,000. But you get a 6-cylinder engine, and on top of that, the new one, the handling characteristics of the new one are supposed to be tremendous, but even the first version of the M2 was really a great car. So I think maybe for me the biggest competitor to this is the new M2 competition.
Okay. Well, what's this? Surely you mean the S model or the GTS, because I mean they're completely different powers.
Well, yeah, but then of course but the M2 is below 50 and this is below 50, whereas the Boxster S is above 50. But then you'd say, but yes, okay, the Cayman models, by the way, are slightly cheaper than the Boxster models now. So maybe the M2 is more of a competitor for the Cayman rather than the Boxster, because of course this is a convertible.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, guys, I mean, I hope you enjoyed that. And James and I have only had the car for a day, but nevertheless, I think we've got a good feel for some of the wonderful things about the Boxster, and
I think
the few
we both
disappointments.
like it, and we both think it's a reasonable price for a Porsche brand car, which handles well and has quite a good amount of speed.
And is generally has a quality interior.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, it's Ian and James saying goodbye.
See you guys.
See you next time.